In today's video, you're going to learn 3 things. We're having a trip down memory lane, a look back at part 1 of the Saito Kohaku and what they were before they went in this pond. I really want you to see the crazy results that this 1200 gallon, very basic pond has created once again. Then we're going to see the up-to-date result of the fish, where they're at, what the future lies for these. And probably the best bit is these have been primed as an example for the very purpose of giving you today a very detailed explanation on hard and soft Beni. But in that, between those two, it's particularly the soft bit I want to focus on. These Kohaku have not been fed any colour food at any point in their life since spawning. It's very rare I do this, but I wanted to do it to show you what that would actually look like, raising fish like that through to Jumbo Tosai. Again, I just want to bring you back to that bit. The performance in this pond, 96 fish raised through to Jumbo Tosai. It's madness. You're going to be super excited, and stay tuned to the end because you're going to get to find out how you can even get your hands on one of these and have it grown here with me through to what I think are going to be epic Nisai. Let's jump into it. Just looking on here, I want to come back to the Bloodline. So this is the new Kinsen offspring he's been using for 3 years now. This has been a really good year for this. This is going to be difficult. So you've seen there the original batch, how they were when they went in. The structures, I think part of what I wanted to prove in this year as well is nature versus nurture, because what Saito doesn't have the indoor space to be able to actually raise his fish through. So they go into the mud pond as a smallish Tosai. They can only do what they can do in that time frame. And I know, I've seen the parent fish, I know the guy's understanding and quality of his bloodlines. So for his sake, I really wanted to demonstrate that these could be raised in the right conditions. They've got the genetics to perform like any of the top ones out there. Saito anyway, his Kohaku have a naturally soft colour, but what I wanted to do was raise these without any colour food to really demonstrate what that would look like, what it means, what the colour food actually does in all this, and help you understand what soft Beni is and why it really matters, because ultimately it's a quality indicator, but it's also a potential indicator. So for now, I'm going to blitz through these, looking for absolutely prime pieces to grow to the maximum this summer, and we go from there. It is fascinating in today's modern koi world that because a breeder isn't seen to be producing or getting the size for age, that they can be somewhat dismissed as the quality not being there because it's not visually being demonstrated. And that's a shame really, because you do have to understand the genetic code and the nature versus nurture element that comes as a result of that. Not only have we then got the point of nature versus nurture, but I also want to raise that point about here in the raising style, about technique versus equipment, if you like, because ponds don't really come much more basic than the one these have been in. And these results, I've not got to measure these yet, I don't know, but 96 fish in this 1200 gallon pond, one of the brush chambers and fluid beds. Again, you can see my Tetley Brew water. You know, every bit of my technique has been unleashed here on these to get these results, and it's quite astounding. I am genuinely blown away with what I've seen here so far. And remember, as you're looking, what you're going to see from the soft Beni element here is related to the hue. So, and I actually want to disconnect those two elements right now, because soft Beni is not generally linked to the hue entirely. People actually think just because the Beni's more orangey in colour, that's soft. That's not the case. That generally is easily manipulated by the use of colour food. The big bit here in the softness is that you've got this oranginess. It looks soft, it looks subtle, but there's real depth and quality to it. And you can really demonstrate, look, I've seen it, and this is what's helped. The pigment cells loaded up in that there. That's actually the best example we've seen because these haven't had colour food. That's the soft appearance. You know, it's subtle. Not because it's orange, forget that. You've just got this very, very delicate colour because we haven't pushed it all out of the scale properly yet. It's a hell of a quality to have, but the point is, if I'd have fed these colour food, this would be already more intense, but it would still have the softness there because it's to do with the depth of the quality of the Beni, the shine that it's got, the level of pigment that it's got. I'm excited. I can see I've had my eye on this for so long. I believe this is going to be one of the absolute top results. That's a crazy ass fish. Quality is so high. And just look at the shiroji, because there's been no colour food. You can see even in this heavy organically loaded water just how good that shiroji is. There's an element, of course, of the genetics there, but the lack of colour food. That fish has got my pulse racing big time. What a unit. I mean, just look at the bone. That's got to be getting on for 40 centimetres. Look at the bone structure. You know, that genetically is a powerhouse. That's going to be a huge Nisai at the end of it. Unbelievable. Wow, colour quality again. You see it there, look, softness. It's got a soft appearance in that we've got the light colour, we've got the pigment in the middle. Hard colour, I've not got any here that'll demonstrate it, but hard colour would not look like this. Hard colour would be a uniform colour, probably you know, a lot deeper, but it's absolutely uniform. We've not got the lighter with the pigment in the edge, and with hard colour as well, I wouldn't expect to see the sashi at the front here. That's not what it is, because the hard part comes, and basically by definition, it's colour with no potential left in it. You know, really soft colour like this has got super potential. It's got longevity. Hard Beni hasn't, unless we're talking about a finished, really finished, mature example that's already big in size, and it's just a case of seeing it out. Right, here's a fantastic, and I'm going to use this at the end, but a great example here of the hard Beni. Now this one's a bit complex because it's not completely hard, but if we look in comparison to the last fish you've seen, there's a lot more uniformity to the colour. There's a little bit more pigment left in the middle, but nowhere near what you've seen. And the problem is we've already got a few scales coming away on this. If we look on the back edge here, colour starting to not spread properly. Now there is still life in this one. The problem is, and we've got the sashi, which is normally a good indicator, but it's the rest of this that's concerning me. I can't see enough colour potential in that right now. If I push that further from this point on, that Beni's going to fall apart. That is the real comparison of hard and soft, and at the end we'll come back to that and do something a bit more directly. Well, in fact, even no need. Look at the two side by side. Nothing to do with the hue, the depth, or how red, how intense it is. Look at that. Soft, pigment in the middle, loads of it, sashi, and then that. Like I say, we'll come back to that towards the end of the video. So, just as I'm wowed by what these fish are clearly capable of, but just wowed by what this pond has done again. You may well remember I raised the Marido Karashi in here last year, but of course they're Karashigoi. There can always be that caveat that the things grow like weeds anyway. Kohaku don't necessarily. They've got to have the genetics, and they ain't always the easiest thing. I'm stood here right now having one thought today. This might be for a t-shirt later down the line. You know the saying, all the gear and no idea, which is where unfortunately I see a lot of koi keepers place. Go out buying all the stuff, having it all attached to the pond, but having no idea what to do with it. Well, this is quite the opposite. This is the opposite way round. And what I want to coin today is fuck the gear and get the idea. Because when you get the idea, this is what you can do with it. This is nothing but skill, knowledge, experience, and of course the one bit of gear is that Saki Akari fish food. I'm still having it neither way. That stuff is fucking unbelievable and part of the reason that we're seeing these results right now.
I'd do anything for, I'd do anything for a smile.
So that, I'm absolutely buzzed by this right now. We're going to talk more about it, but we're just going to do a size cap. So I checked back this morning on the original video, can't remember the date, but I know the size range was 18 to 25, smallest to biggest. Average was 20 to 23. Now this is actually the net of fish that I'm not going to be growing any further. These are actually going to get moved outside, and these will make their way through our new auctioning platform slowly. That's available at rickystoddartnishikigoi.com, and there is links in the description for that. People are loving the experience. But for now, I just want to see where we're at with these, and you'll see here, look, the quality. Just as before, I've chosen to be as disciplined as I can. I pretty much halved it from what I can see, and I might go again after that. But like I say, at the moment, I just want to see, yeah, where we've maxed out, really. I'm going to get this one in. This has absolutely battered itself. This is because of the heavy stocking. When that feeder goes off, they absolutely pummel in, and it's just been battering its scales. It's battered its dorsal fin. Shame as well, because it's a really, really great looking fish, but it's going to take too long to recover. Even the chance right now to be able to go to a breeder and buy this amount of Jumbo Tosai would not be easy. I mean, look at this. So we're hitting solid 36 there. Fucking hell. What we got there? 30, about 38 on that one. 37. 37 again. Where's my smaller one? 34. Wow. These are the characteristics of top level breeders, and that's what Dainichi Kinsen provides. Obviously, coming from Dainichi Toyota, Kinsen was the All Japan winner of Dainichi Toyota and one of my favourite fish of all time. And what it's renowned for is the structure, the depth of Beni, but also its absolutely electric colour, deep red. That's where these are going to go. Please don't forget that. These are going to become those deep red, as you're going to see probably by Grow Out Part 3 when these get introduced to some colour food. But structurally, powerful look. You can see that straight down the barrel, the size of the head, the shoulders on the thing. Not lacking in any department. Just want to show you there, that's a couple of knocked scales, again from the feeding behaviour. Stuff like that don't bother me, that's just knocked out. That colour will fully recover, probably in around 6 to 8 weeks. You'll never know that that's happened. Oh yes, look at that. 40 cm. And just look at the structure. Awesome. Awesome. If they were sat here right now and I told you that they were Dainichi fish, you wouldn't question it. Not in the slightest. Right. I need to go and have a moment and calm down. I'm far too excited. I know it. This has been my absolute favourite pond for a while. Results mind-blowing. Up to 40 cm with 96 fish raising that amount of water. Superb. So now I'm going to take a look in the bowl in some clear water, the hard and soft Beni comparison, for you to really wrap your head around that and what it means from a quality perspective. And then from this very net of my top fish, there's around 50 odd in there, I'm going to be making an exclusive selection of 20 fish that's going to be coming to an auction on my new platform, and they're going to have a growing option that takes you through to the end of September, where we're already starting at 35 to 40 cm, They're going to be big Nisai, they're going to be phenomenal Nisai, and the whole thing is going to be done slightly differently. Not going to explain that all in this video today. I'm going to show you a fish and you'll get to know that later on, and of course I'll always leave information in the description. But for now, let's get our head round this Beni comparison. I mean, just for a start, how much different do they look in some clear water? But that aside, these are the examples I've got to demonstrate the colour now. From the hard Beni aspect, they aren't the best to prove it, but there's enough of a difference to really demonstrate it. Because the two examples I've got with the harder colour still have good colour quality, but there's potential limitations to it, especially with the smaller fish. So let's have a look, and I've put a little bit of anaesthetic in here as well, just to make it a little bit easier to handle. But I think the first bit is probably just to look at them all side by side. So 1, 2 and 3 are examples of, I think, you know, a prime example of what soft Beni looks like. Forget about the shade, the hue, ignore that. But what you've got is that real sort of two-tone colour within the scale, and it's a really strong example because there's been no colour food. So like in the bulk of the scale, you've got the really light coloration, and then in the middle you can see all the pigment loaded up. Now the reason I've gone with these as well is because you can actually see differences in the strength of the colour amongst them, that one being a bit stronger look as well, but you can still see the same sort of two-tone effect. And in all of them you've got very prominent, you know, good quality sashi and kiwa, which is also important. But these are the best examples I've seen to really sort of demonstrate it, especially this bit over the shoulders here. You can really see that in effect. But absolutely the best two are these ones to look at. Now if we get zoomed in on that look, you can really see that crazy ass scale detail. So light actually within the scale because the pigment's all built up there in the middle. Now even if I would have had thrown colour food at these, what we would have seen that same two-tone effect, a visual, you know, softness. It doesn't look hard, it doesn't look aggressive, but would have just been a lot, you know, the rest of the scale would have been a lot stronger red, and the bit in the middle would have been a little bit more subtle at this point. But these are, you know, the Beni quality is very much a genetic thing with these Saito Kohaku. We see it in that one look. Let me just look at it. Then if we take and we get that direct comparison now over these two, probably going to fight me. You can visually, I can't give you anything better than a visual guide. The colour quality is not the same. This one is nowhere near got the depth, the elasticity, let's say that softness to be able to be push grown and still be very good quality Beni. This one, with looking at how that colour is, this would have to be raised bonsai style to really maximise the colour. Trying to push that on from this point will just make that colour fall apart. So I hope there it's got this super visual guide as to what it looks like. Even if we compare this one, look. In fact, let's compare this one with that one, two bigger ones together. You can already see, look, massive difference. We've not got the level of pigment within the scales on this one. It's already a lot more spread out, the colour. So the amount of colour potential isn't there. It's got a hardness forming already. Also a cracking side by side there, actually a bone structure look as well, because neither are bad, but this fish on the right, you just see it, it's just different look. Wider mouth, wider head, longer head, bigger shoulders, wider shoulders. As a side by side, that's absolutely nuts for both shape, for structure, sorry, and for Beni hardness and softness. What that means for you guys ultimately is just understanding colour. Hard Beni, soft Beni, I mean, it is, the really soft colour is one of the ultimate signs of quality. Bloodlines can have an effect the way it's been raised, but I think I just wanted you to understand that that term and concept is more of a quality thing than anything to do with colour. Colour's not necessarily quality, it's a whole new category and thing to study on its own. But where these are at, this Beni quality at this level on these ones is really, really good.
and you're going to see it as we go into the next phase. Yes, I'm going to introduce colour food now at this point, so we're going to change it, but you will still see by the end of this, as Nisai, there's going to be a lot more intensity to the colour, but there will still be this sort of soft richness to it at Nisai. Later in life, as they hit kind of 4 or 5 years old, of course, it's going to become more uniform, because that's what we're expecting. That's part of the development, it's part of the pattern. But that's fine at that age. It's what we're working towards. It's the potential we're seeing here, knowing what that colour is going to look like later in life.
So now for a really fun bit. This batch of fish, I've been so besotted by them, enjoying them so much, I was actually thinking I would just grow them all through to Nisai and sell some at the end. But there's a good chunk, and today, because of what we've got with the new platform, I'm going to try something completely different. There'll be a video on that coming up, but what these are today, I'm now going to select 20 top pieces from what I've got here that are going to be auctioned individually. They'll all start at the same starting price, and they'll be grown, that growing option through to the end of September, to pump these into phenomenal Nisai. Where it's all going to start is going to represent phenomenal value for money, but there's only going to be these 20. I don't want to let another one of those go at this moment in time. So I'm going to get that selection done now, and then we'll have a closer look at these in the bowl shortly.
So here I've got the first 10. Oh man, I'm almost speechless. Seeing them in clean water like that for the first time, the quality is just bouncing. So when I first got hold of this whole batch of Kohaku, I've still got a lot, I've still got some of the batch I selected this from that, you know, I've been very disciplined, but I knew I'd got a quality level that is generally hard to get from a breeder because of the relationship I have with Saito. And I know this stuff is massively underrated, partly for one of those reasons being the kind of size for age and stuff he grows it to. But just look right here at this result. This is a result of my whole keep it simple philosophy, nature versus nurture, you name it, it's right here. These 10 fish are phenomenal. Very, very rare I let this kind of stuff go for growing, especially the way in which we're going to do it and the price point we're going to start it at. I think it's just too easy to see. Super predictable. The quality is so much. There will be no colour failure in here. The body structures are amazing. We're already at, let's have a look size-wise. I did check, I just forgot. 31 on that one. I think we went up to 38 on the big one. Over the period we're going to have, these are going to be smashing the 50 to 55 centimetre mark. The pond's going to be lightly stocked. They're actually going to be sharing it with my Miss Toyota offspring, the Tatigoi from that as well. And it's just going to be a superb pond to watch. I'm going to use the same pond that I raised the huge Nisai golden corn in last year as well, which actually started off even smaller than these were at an earlier time, a later time, sorry. It's going to be exciting. This quality level, not easy to find. Great pattern diversity mix in there as well. You've got examples like this one, much more simple pattern but an absolute beast. Look, with the bone structure, that's somewhere in between, bit more flowery style pattern, very well balanced, and then the more classic 2 steps, 3-step marathon. Really cool with that Hanatsuki head pattern look, and the whole flow of that. The colour quality there is just absolute levels. Again, a bit more informal on that one. And then the classic Nidan, really nice. And then, of course, I mean, you've got to throw the odd marathon into the mix as well. Just look at that. It's a lot 1 of 2. Just take a moment to absolutely appreciate them. And I think this is something a lot of people are going to want to be a part of, because these are top draw and going to come with that regular value that we like to put on these things. And here we have round 2, another equally as impressive set of 10 fish, 31 to 37 cm in this bowl. I mean, just imagine what that would have looked like if I'd have lumped them all together. Absolutely stunning. Now there's a couple in here, a little bit, this sort of 31 cm end, but I just thought they were so impressive. The pattern level really elevated with those. Which will certainly have a lot of appeal to people. But then again, another nice mix. These ones with the heavier shiroji, very, very nice to see. Because the shiroji is so good, that's going to look so impressive if it starts to get bigger. These ones with the kind of side mask style pattern. And then we have, of course, a bit more traditional. Nice two-step with a bit of a windy take on it. This one, what we got there, I mean, steps galore on that one. Nice Odame. 4-step here, so much. This one, I mean, that you got that heavier pattern, huge structure to it. Look at that height on it, and then that nice kind of informal Marathon and the Coochie Beni. Oh my god, they're dreamy. They are absolutely dreamy. Again, let's take a moment to enjoy. I'm overwhelmed with enjoyment right now. Crazy stuff.
But there they are in all their glory. I hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope it's been as educational as it has been enjoyable. Cracking batch of fish to demonstrate there about the hard and soft Beni, and I hope your understanding of that is now much, much clearer. If you do have any more questions about it, feel free to hit me up in the comments. I'll do my best to answer it. Don't forget, you can also join in the Question Time Live on a Wednesday and ask me there if you want. As for that, moving on with these now, I've got my Miss Toyota sorting to do, and then as soon as the new pond's prepared, they'll get moved. Stay tuned for the next video dropping on how you can get your hands on one of those 20 spectacular fish. That's going to be one of the wildest customer grow outs I've done thus far, I think. Going to be bonkers. Can't wait for it. Other than that, big credit to Saito for what he's created here, and I really, really do hope that this content is going to help you have a better understanding of just how important genetics are, but also how the breeder's circumstances can affect what you're seeing, and you shouldn't just take everything at face value. The very, very last part of all that, all the gear and no idea. Fuck the gear, get the idea. Remember it. The performance of this pond once again has been sensational, and there's not a flashy bit of kit in sight. Catch you on the next one.